why does the chairman of the National Committee has to do a report at this specific time and this specific occasion?
This is a feature of the work of the CPPCC. At each year's annual session, the chairman of the National Committee will make a work report on past year's work, perhaps also mention a lot of new ideas which for this year, the task for this year. So this is an annual feature of this part of the CPPCC. Yeah.
But it's important to know that the CPPCC members not only work on during this March session. Of course, they work from all year around, going to local areas, listening to advices, hearing their conditions, and come up with their proposals. So how do you evaluate the effectiveness and efficiency of their work?
You know, I think again, a lot is it's like an iceberg. You only see the top part of it, which is these 2 weeks, and that the work is really done on a day-to-day basis throughout the year, and almost every single day that there's feedback, and they're receiving, whether it's online, and a lot of these local governments have made it online, and the central government has made a lot of this information available online. They're actually taking this in, and we even as foreigners have a voice, even with regards to the new foreign investment law that's coming up. They were asking us up until the end of the month what our feedback was from the different chambers and individuals as well. So all of this is got, all this information has to get disseminated, and then we're seeing the fruits of that and the results of that during this sessions, these 2 sessions.
And you have this standing committee and the secretariat, which works on a daily basis. They have other members who sometimes they are really.
And Mama, I think
as we speak right now, we're watching live.
Yeah, it's about to start.
Yeah. Well, this is the yearly gathering of CPPCC members. Chinese President Xi Jinping is walking into the venue where over 2,000 CPPCC members are gathering. And later on, we'll be hearing a report by the chairman of the National Committee. Wang Yang will be delivering that work report on the committee's achievement during the past year and set targets for 2019.
And over the next 2 weeks, political advisors will voice their ideas and submit proposals on significant issues concerning China's future.
That's right, and this year both the 13th National Committee of the CPPCC and the 13th NPC, the National People's Congress, hold their second sessions. Political advisors, the CPPCC members, are set to voice their ideas and discuss how to follow through on the decisions made at the last Communist Party of China National Congress. And we also mentioned just now that 2019 marks the 70th founding anniversary of the People's Republic of China, as well as the establishment of the CPPCC. Many people see this year's 2 sessions as a chance to adjust policies for China to better adapt to a new era, as China is trying to restructure its economy, to promote the reform of its SOEs, as well as address some challenges both at home and abroad.
Again, you're watching live footage from the Great Hall of the People in central Beijing. The second session of the 13th National Committee of the CPPCC is about to start.
The second session of the 13th National Committee of Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference has a scheduled attendance of 2,157 and an actual attendance of 2,133. We are up to strength. Now, I announce the second session of the 13th National Committee of the CPPCC is officially inaugurated. Please all rise up and sing the national anthem. Please take your seats. Today, the invited guests include the General Secretary of the Communist Party of China, President of the State and Chairman of the Central Military Commission, Comrade Xi Jinping. Leaders and comrades of the party and the state, responsible persons of the CPC Central Committee, the Standing Committee of NPC and the State Council, as well as the foreign ambassadors and envoys in China, information officers and overseas Chinese. Let's give them a warm welcome. Today's opening ceremony includes three main agendas. Now let's begin with the first agenda. Deliberate on the agenda of the second session of the 13th National Committee of CPPCC. Now our staff member will read the draft of the agenda. The second session of the 13th National Committee of CPPCC agenda. First, listen to and deliberate on the Standing Committee of CPPCC report of the work. Second, listen to and deliberate on the Standing Committee of CPPCC's reports about the work since the first session of the 13th National Committee. And third, for the second session of the NPC, the members will listen to the government work report and we will discuss over that event, and we will also discuss the foreign investment draft. And then we will deliberate on the decision of the second session of the 13th National Committee of CPPCC. And fifthly, we will deliberate on the second National Committee's report over the Standing Committee's work. Sixth, deliberate on the 13th National Committee's review. And that's all for the agenda. Distinguished members, any different opinions about this agenda? If no, then the agenda is approved by acclamation. Now let's start with the second agenda. Let's give the floor to Chairman of the CPPCC, Mr. Wang Yang, on behalf of the Standing Committee of the 13th National Committee of CPPCC to deliver work report. Esteemed members, on behalf of the Standing Committee of the 13th National Committee of CPPCC, I would love to deliver the work report for your deliberation. First, the review of our 2018 work. 2018 is a beginning year for full implementation of the spirits of 19th National Congress, as well as the work of the 13th National Committee of CPPCC. Under the strong leadership of CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping as the core, the National Committee and its Standing Committee of CPPCC have thoroughly studied and implemented the socialism with Chinese characteristics proposed by Xi Jinping, and we fully implemented the spirits of the 19th National Congress and the second and third plenary session of the 19th Central Committee. We enhanced 4 awarenesses, 4 confidence, and managed 2 safeguards. We are progressing with the 5-in-1 strategy and the 4-pronged comprehensive strategy. We held on to the twin themes of solidarity and democracy, as well as the combination of inheritance and innovation. We gave play to the professional consultative machinery, which contributes its wisdom and build consensus to fully implement the decision of CPC Central Committee and the requirements for CPPCC. We gathered the forces of domestic and overseas Chinese to realize the China dream of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. We made solid new progress in different sectors and exhibited the new outlook of the People's Political Consultative Conference. Over the past 1 year, the Standing Committee is committed to the leadership of Communist Party of China over People's Political Consultative Conference's work. And CPPCC is a solemn word, and it's a system with sacred missions and responsibilities. People's Political Consultative Conference is a political organization, and we must take a clear-cut stand on political awareness. People's Political Consultative Conference is a major system of people's democracy, so we must be people-oriented when fulfilling our responsibilities. And People's Political Consultative Conference is a professional advisory body, so we must be realistic and pragmatic to improve our capacity in advising. To that end, we will work on 3 fronts to lay down the foundation and benefit the long term. First, to hold educational activities to study General Secretary Xi Jinping's ideas of improving the work of People's Political Consultative Conference. Thoroughly studying and implementing General Secretary Xi Jinping's socialism with Chinese characteristic, as well as the spirits of the 19th National Congress, is the top political priority of CPPCC, and an inevitable request for different levels of People's Political Consultative Conference to improve their ideological and political development. As approved by CPC Central Committee, between May and September 2018, the whole advisory system in China collectively convened certain research activities to study General Secretary Xi Jinping's ideas of improving the CPCCC job and realizing full coverage of members. Also, we convened a theoretical workshop to collectively study the measures in order to upgrade the CPPCC work. We have generated fruitful results politically, ideologically, and practically. In mid-November last year, General Secretary Xi Jinping chaired a meeting and listened to the reports of the above-mentioned activities and delivered a keynote remark. The Standing Committee, themed on implementing and studying General Secretary Xi Jinping's key remarks, and accordingly convened the first conference on self-development in the new century. We deepened our understanding of the new place and new missions of CPPCC in this new era as a professional consultative organ that is more mature and more well-developed. Our ideas and actions are conformed to the spirits of General Secretary Xi Jinping's remarks. We made further arrangements and requirements for the work of CPPCC. Second, boost party building within the framework of People's Political Consultative Conference. People's Political Consultative Conference is a crucial mechanism of multi-party cooperation and political consultation led by Communist Party of China. So party building within this framework matters to the direction and level of our work. The leading party group organized thematic research on party building within the framework, and for the first time, we convened a party building symposium in order to facilitate political development and party building. The leading party group timely studied and implemented the opinions on improving People's Political Consultative Conference's party building in this new era issued by the General Office of CPC Central Committee. We proposed 8 prioritized tasks for party members to be part of the dual organizational system. We established the steering committee for the stringent execution. fully implementing the overall requirements of party building in this new era and improving the party's leadership over People's Political Consultative Conference is our organizational system. We will further elevate the party group's leadership capacity over People's Political Consultative Conference to guarantee political conference's commitment to new missions and tasks in this new era.
Third, we need to prioritize the improvement of the quality of working. Working quality is of crucial importance for development of the party and the country for a new era. It is also indispensable to improve the CPPCC work. In order to enhance our weak links and make up for gaps, so as to reach a better quality of work, we should not only ask ourselves, what have we done, how much we have done, to what achievement have we made. We also need to improve the proposal qualities and increase frequencies of soliciting proposals and efficiency of handling proposals. All kinds of consultative activities should be carried out for pre-discussions and follow-up discussions. Interaction and create a better atmosphere for consultancy is also important, so as to improve the efficiency. We created a mobile platform for evaluating work performance of the members, carry out online consultancy so that the members can practice their duties regardless of time and location. We also implemented talking mechanisms, especially among non-party members, private entrepreneurs, experts, and scholars, in order to improve cohesiveness. We also established lectures and special lecture groups of the working members, publicized the policies, and strengthened leadership. We also worked on stipulations to improve consultant quality and performance evaluation. In the past year, the Standing Committee centered around the central missions of the party and the country, as well as unify and democracy, the two themes. And these are the works that we have done in the past year. First, strengthen creativeness in theories to solidify common ideological and political foundation. We organized studies on Xi Jinping thoughts on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, the spirit of the 19th National Congress and its second and third plenary sessions. Studies on General Secretary Xi Jinping's remarks on the 20th anniversary of the birth of Karl Marx, the 40th anniversary of the implementation of reform and opening up. Also studies the newly amended Constitution and CPPCC Charter to consolidate the party leadership and socialism with Chinese characteristics as the base. We established a mechanism for holding seminars to study Xi Jinping thoughts for socialism with Chinese characteristics for new era, and also holding collective studies and theory studies to create study mechanism with theory studies at its core. Promote to normalize and systemize the theoretical studies. Strengthen the member trainings, especially the training of the new members. And the first group of the member has a number of 500 people, and the total number of trainees amounted to 9,200. We studied the General Secretary Xi Jinping's important statement on the building a new party mechanism, and also we stay true to our missions. Second, to showcase CPPCC's characteristic and play to our strength. We should stress democracy and also consolidate the unity, provide consultancy to reach more consensus, and play to our strength as the top advisory body. We held one plenary session and 2 special policy discussion meetings of the Standing Committee and 2 special consultancy meetings and 19 bi-weeks seminars, 2 online consultancy meetings and 1 online discussion seminar, and 18 counterparts meetings and 4 proposal handling meetings, in order to form a normalized, multi-layer and diversified consultancy mechanism. We solicited opinions in a large scale, identified the topics, and made consultancy plans and organize activities. We also make full use of the investigation and research result and optimize our advice in communication and pour wisdom in the process of consultancy in order to improve the efficiency of the advice. We also stress interactiveness. We continued to deepen our thoughts and to integrate advice, support, and supervision in the process of consultancy, so that the process can lead our ideology, publicize the policies, and enhance trust, as well as strengthen communication and exchange our different opinions, in order to form a consensus to the major policies of a party and country and form a synergy to further implement the decisions of the party and the country. Third, center around the central mission and fight the 3 tough fights and realize high-quality consultancy and policy discussion. In terms of targeted poverty alleviation, 6 vice chairmen lead teams to the poverty-stricken areas to carry out research and held special standing committee meetings in terms of poverty alleviation. Collective discussions were held to make contributions to poverty alleviation. In terms of water, air, and soil pollution, we also organized members to go to 14 provinces to carry out research, and standing committee meetings were also held in terms of the pollution problem. We also carried out survey on people's living condition, ecological immigration, marine resources and natural resource, river management, and green development of the express delivery industry, in order to contribute to the improvement of ecology and environment. We also guarded against major risks, know more about the current situation, and sat down with government officials, financial institutions, and enterprises to hold special consultancy meetings on fending off systematic financial risks. We focus on high-quality development, deepen supply-side reform, and carry out inspections on fundamental research and promote important indigenous innovation, support development of AI technologies, new energy cars, and shared economies. We also convene special consultancy meetings on developing real economy, improving supply system quality, in order to focus on high quality of the private economy, improve the confidence of private enterprises, expand market access, and to ease the financing pressures. We also help implement the policies to support development of private enterprises. We prioritize the rejuvenation of countryside and carry out consultancy of the rural workforce and integration of the 3 industries in the rural areas, as well as urban-rural development, and to build special featured towns and upgrade of rural industries. We convened the counterpart meeting of the agricultural issues in order to help with the modernization of the rural areas. We also offer advice on the Beijing-Tianjin-Hebei coordinated development, Changjiang Yangtze River Economic Belt development, Northeast rejuvenation, and Hainan Free Trade Zone, as well as Dabishan Mountain Green development to enhance regional coordinated development. Each quarter, we held seminars to examine the macroeconomy, to discuss new issues and give pragmatic advice.
Fourth, we fulfilled our responsibilities for the people to support people's livelihood, improvement, and social development, adapting to the changes of major social contradictions, and satisfying people's increasing demand for a better life requires our consultative, advisory, and democratic supervision. We prioritized educational undertaking and advised on solving problems like the heavy burden for after-class studies of primary and secondary school students, and the double first-rate university plan, and the private educational development. We must work on meeting people's demand. And for the issues like employment and social security in the center of people's interests, we presented our suggestions. We also discussed over the mid- and long-term demographic changes, economic social development, marine rescue, volunteering service management, and in line with the Healthy China strategy, we have also worked on improving the public hospital operational mechanism, enhancing the grassroots level healthcare services and the general medical practitioners cultivation, as well as the old age care service system and mass fitness agenda, in order to commensurate the national fitness and healthcare policies. We paid attention to the construction of the rule of law and recommended on the formulation and amendment of regulations on protecting the minors on the internet, the law on protecting ex-servicemen, the social organization registration and management regulation, and judicial responsibility system reform. We convened bi-week discussion conferences to solve the difficult problems, and we are supporting the deepening of rule of law in practices. As to the building of a socialism cultural powerhouse, we investigated the spirit of model workers and craftsmanship, and also the revolutionary resources protection and utilization, cultural and creative industry development, historical and cultural renowned towns, the cultural heritages protection and utilization, the Great Canal cultural development, calligraphy education, opera inheritance and development. We organized members to send their greetings to teachers, and we divert scientific resources, cultural resources, and sports resources to the grassroots level. And also we handled the letters and visits to the CPPCC. Fifth, we are committed to the solidarity to gather strength on a wider basis. We established a mechanism of communication between different parties to be involved in the political affairs of the CPPCC, and the Special Committee of CPPCC, together with the Democratic parties, co-organized some consultative activities and joint investigations. We also enhanced our engagement with non-party intellectuals, non-public sectors personage, and the persons from the new social classes. We timely refer their opinions and pursuits. We also innovated some mechanisms for the investigations of minority ethnicities and religious committees and different sectors. We put together those different sectors to exchange social conditions and public opinions. We also work on enhancing the communication between different ethnicities, the promotion of the national universal language and characters, the border masses production and life, and also the boarding primary and secondary schools people's development in the ethnic regions. We are committed to the Chinese essence in our religion development, as well as the cultivation of talents in Tibetan Buddhism. We visited 5 provinces and municipalities to publicize General Secretary Xi Jinping's remarks on the 40th anniversary of reform and opening up when meeting with the people from Hong Kong and Macau. We also organized members from Hong Kong and Macau to visit the Chinese mainland and advised on how to promote the Greater Bay Area development. We dispatched a delegation of Hong Kong and Macau youngsters to the Chinese mainland for more experience sharing. We encouraged the members from Hong Kong and Macau to support special administrative regions' government and chief executives to exercise their governance according to the law. We strongly voiced against the Hong Kong independence movement, and for the first time, we held the grassroots level governance forum for the cross-straits. And as to the implementation of the measures on promoting economic and cultural communication and cooperation cross-straits, we have advised and investigated about its implementation, as well as the startup businesses by the youngsters across straits. We strengthened our links with parties from Taiwan, and we stood firmly against the Taiwan independence. We invited the overseas Chinese to attend the plenary meeting of CPPCC and advised on how to unite those overseas Chinese to safeguard our overseas interests. 6. We held friendly exchanges with foreign countries to create favorable external environment. According to the overall arrangement of our national diplomacy, we practically exchanged with high-level heads of states overseas, and we deepened our communication with the overseas organizations, political organizations, media groups, think tanks. And we enriched our contents and forms of communication to properly tell the stories of how the CPC governed China, how the different ethnicities fight in this new era, and the stories about the new type of political system and People's Political Consultative Conference. We publicized and promoted the concept of building a community with a shared future for mankind. And for the first time, we staged activities to invite about 41 African ambassadors and envoys, as well as the African Union's ambassadors to China, to visit the CPPCC for discussion. And themed under the Belt and Road Initiative, we staged the China-Africa Economic and Social Council Roundtable Conference. We established a friendly group for Sino-Africa relationship within the framework. We organized special committees to engage with external forces, and as to the overseas economic and trade cooperation zone, international overland and maritime trade new channels, China-ASEAN regional economic cooperation, China-Singapore connectivity channel, the CR Express operation, we have deepened our investigation and consultation. We supported the China Economic Social Council and the European Economic and Social Commission to co-hold the 16th China-Europe Roundtable Conference. We supported the China Religious Sectors Peace Committee to attend the Asian Religious Peace Conference. We convened a conference to analyze our international situation and supported members to timely give out their voice about the trade frictions between China and U.S. and advise and demonstrate their firm attitude and confidence from different sectors and different parties to safeguard our national interests.
7th. With a spirit of reform and innovation, we strengthened the CPPCC's self-development. To implement the CPC's decision on developing institutional reforms, we have optimized the setting up of the special committees, and we add the Committee for Rural and Agriculture. Mechanisms were established, such as the chairman meeting reports to the standing committee. The chairman's conference listened to the report of the special committee, and the vice chairman is in direct contact with the special members. And also we convened the special committee's directors' meetings so that it can play a more important fundamental roles. We respect the members' position, strengthened their sense of responsibility, and facilitated the communication between Vice Chairman and the sectors and members. When members of the chaired meeting come to the local areas to conduct work, they should visit the local CPPCC members. We also revised performance evaluation regulations and collect data on the work performance, establish files of work performance. The standing members should submit performance report. 298 members of the standing committee have already submitted their report, and the party member have given critics on their work performance of the members of the standing committee. The members should participate in the standing committee. All of the members should do their yearly homework well, and the depth and width of the members' performance have been improved. This is not a once-in-a-year work. We have to have very stringent requirement. According to our charter, we've disqualified 3 CPPCC members. In order to improve the investigation and survey, we need to collect data on the hotspot issues and key issues. We need to also streamline the selection process of the spokespersons. And for the first time, we'll collect video and audio materials on the 40 years development of reform and opening up. We also attach importance to the function of Theoretical Research Association of the CPPCC in terms of major theories and practices, strengthen the report of important meetings, activities, and members' performance. Under the party leadership, we also promote the administration of the CPPCC organs, a cadre team structure, as well as strengthen our practices, carried out internal inspection and education, and fought against the 4 bad practices in order to build model offices. We also supported the work of the Central Commission for Disciplinary Inspection and held the seminar of local CPCC chairmen and convened Secretary General meetings and strengthened guidance over local work of the CPPCC. Members, in the past year, our achievement is attributed to the strong leadership of the Central Party Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, to the support of all the party commissions, government, and people from all walks of life, as well as to the hard work of members of the CPPCC organs at all levels. On behalf of the Standing Committee of the CPPCC, I give you my heartfelt gratitude. Meanwhile, we are still encountering with a lot of weak links and shortcomings in our work. A lot of comrades need to improve their sense of responsibility as members of the CPPCC. Our function as the top advisory body needs to further optimized, and our working quality needs to be further improved. Inspection and survey needs to be further optimized. Also, we need to enhance our guidance over the work of the local CPPCC, and these questions need to be paid close attention to and be addressed. Second, missions of 2019. The year 2019 marks the 70th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China, and so is the 70th anniversary of the CPPCC. Our overall requirement is, with the guidance of General Secretary Xi Jinping thoughts on socialism with Chinese characteristic for a new era, and carry out the spirit of the 19th National Congress and the third and plenary sessions to strengthen the four awarenesses, the four confidences, and two safeguards. We need to have a central mission and to attach more importance to solidarity and democracy, to promote the 5-in-1 strategy and the 4 comprehensive strategies, and focus on the comprehensive well of society and fought the 3 tough fights. We need to practice political consultancy, democratic supervision, and discussion and participation of politics, improve working quality on both sides, and to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the founding of the new China. General Secretary Xi Jinping pointed out that the year 2019 is a year full of challenges as well as opportunities. To do our work well, we have to look at the big picture. We need to attach importance to stability and adapt to the times and tendencies, and focus on the difficulties and worries of the people, and also focus both on stability and progress. We need to center around General Secretary Xi Jinping's thoughts on Chinese socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era as our overarching principle, strengthen studies, and further consolidate the ideological and political foundation to build socialism with Chinese characteristics. We also need to further materialize and stabilize the CPPCC mechanism so that it can play the function as top of advisory body and to carry out our missions for a new era. We need to advocate innovation and be courageous enough to innovate, to strengthen theoretical studies, optimize our mechanism, and practice development. We also need to prioritize the ideological and political guidance. And the consensus, reaching consensus should be the center of our work. We need to advocate consolidarity, improve consolidarity, and mobilize all resources to realize national rejuvenation. First, we should prioritize the studies on General Secretary Xi Jinping's thoughts on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. Theoretical studies should be put in a more prominent position. The implementation of Xi Jinping's thoughts on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era we should also convene regular meetings to study the thoughts. We also need to implement the political construction advice issued by the Party Central Committee to consolidate and expand General Secretary Xi Jinping's thoughts on continuing to improve CPPCC work and implement the 27 measures from the plan to improve the CPPCC work. To deepen understanding through practice and vice versa, we should organize special committees to conduct studies. We need to conduct self-educational seminars and special inspection of the self-education of non-party members, and also talks to strengthen political leadership and unity. We need to transfer scientific theories into synergy to practice put our work into practice. We also need to lead all non-party members and people from all walks of life to strengthen their political and ecological and theoretical emotional identification of socialism with Chinese characteristics. We need to stay committed to our path despite all the trials and tribulations.
Secondly, participating in the political affairs discussion as to the central tasks of the party and the state. We focused on the essential problems of building a well of society in an all-round way in the key year, And we uphold the principles of consolidation, enhancement, improvement, and facilitation. And we deepen the supply-side structural reform to bring about a group of high-quality proposals. We worked on the prioritized activities of consultation and discussed over high-quality development of manufacturing and rendering satisfactory educational results to the people. To that end, we respectively convened some thematic conferences. As to innovation-driven development and the basic public cultural service development in rural areas, we have conducted thematic discussions. We relied on bi-weekly negotiations and distant consultation mechanism to target at problems that is the center of the social concerns, like employment, sharing economy, copyright law amendment, the Great Canal culture development. And as to the development of rural roads, preschool educator development, family education, the old age caring system, healthy China strategy, personal information protection, which are at the heart of people's interests, we have advised and participated in the consultation based on in-depth investigation. Harnessing the power of integrating supervision into consultation, we have fought the tough battle of poverty alleviation and also worked on the policies of natural reserve protection, the grassland ecological protection, practicing the decisions of the party and the state. Thirdly, further enhancing solidarity and friendship building. We have improved the mechanisms of reporting, workshop, sharing, and joint investigation to create conditions for democratic parties, industry and commerce federation, and non-party personage to serve in the CPPCC framework. We have extended the channels of engagement with non-party intellectuals, personage of non-public economic sectors, and new social classes. We have fully implemented our party's ethnic policy and religious principles. We studied and implemented the urban ethnic job in this new era and the management of temples and churches. We have fully executed the one country, two systems and the high degree of autonomy where Hong Kong people governing Hong Kong and Macau people administering Macau, and supported the special administrative regions government and chief officers practicing their authority according to law. We continue the exchange program for those Hong Kong and Macau youngsters to the Chinese mainland, and we also advised on how to boost the two-way exchanges for the youngsters and improve the Greater Bay development. We also are carefully implementing and studying General Secretary Xi Jinping's message to compatriots in Taiwan on the 40th anniversary occasion. We fought firmly against Taiwan independence and deepened our exchanges with relevant party groups and personage in Taiwan Island. And also we have participated and held certain activities of the Straits Forum. We are widely uniting with the overseas Chinese to protect their legitimate rights. Fourthly, we contributed our wisdom and power to serve the great power politics with Chinese characteristics in the forms of high-level mutual visits, innovated public diplomacy, cultural communication mechanism. We have given play to the roles of the special committees, the China Economic Social Council, the China Religious Peace Committee, and we convened the 17th China-EU Roundtable Conference, the thematic workshop about international cooperation under BRI, the peaceful dialogue, and other international symposiums between different religions and cultures in order to enhance our communication and cooperation and build consensus. We organized our members to deepen our research over BRI innovation and introducing the overseas talents. We must tell properly the Chinese story to the outside to safeguard the national sovereignty, safety, and development interests in order to build a community with a shared future for mankind. Fifthly, we must have solid approaches towards self-construction of the CPPCC. For quality system establishment for the consultation of political affairs, we have established an application-oriented think tank and a pool of talents in order to contribute their high-quality opinions. We are harnessing the advantages of the Internet so that our members could fulfill their functionalities remotely, and we have convened some distant workshops and webinars to release the potential and potency of the special consultative organ. We have convened special committee conferences, published normative documents, and formulated enforcement regulations for special committees. We explored the featured ways of reflecting the features of different sectors in order to encourage different sectors to play their role in the CPPCC. We also enhanced the training and service management of the members so that our members could have boosted sense of responsibility and higher initiative in two ways. For the issues like improving proposals, making speeches on the conferences, investigation visits, social conditions, and public opinions reflection, and other regular work, we have established a subject application system for the members and a special evaluation mechanism. Centering on building such a model organ, we took stringent approach towards education, requirement, management, and supervision. We deepened our efforts of party conduct, clean government development, and anti-corruption causes. We tried to build a solid team of our cadres and raise the level of organizational services. We stick to the local chairman workshop system and the local secretary general working conference mechanism. Centering on the county level People's Political Consultative Conference, we have conducted thematic research and convened some experience sharing events for different levels of People's Political Consultative Conference in order to improve consistency. Sixthly, we have staged different activities for the 70th anniversary of the establishment of People's Political Consultative Conference. According to the arrangement of the CPC Central Committee, we have prepared fully for the different activities for the 70th anniversary of PRC. Practically and theoretically, we are fully prepared. And as to the 70th anniversary of the People's Political Consultative Conference, we are also fully prepared. We organized with the local consultative conference and other sides to organize the experience in the past 70 years. We have deepened our studies of the theories and practices of People's Political Consultative Conference. To further take in the members' opinions and suggestions, which are raised remotely, we have organized and staged different activities like documents collections for the past 70 years, thematic book publication, photography and calligraphy and painting exhibitions. Through diversified forms, we want to fully exhibit that People's Political Consultative Conference is having an extraordinary history along with the PRC. We want to exhibit that generations of members have been keeping up their good fight non-stop, and they have been enhancing their sense of honor and sense of missions. At this new historical point, we want to keep marching forward with the work of CPPCC.
Third, to gather positive energy for comprehensively building a well-off society. This year is an important milestone to build a well-off society and realize the first centenary goals. To build a well-off society, we have come to a critical juncture. So this year's work is crucially important. We are faced with urgent and daunting tasks, as well as severe and complicated risks and challenges. The CPPCC has to serve the big picture, safeguard the big picture, and implement central decisions, and pull our hearts, consensus, wisdom, and power together to make this great cause happen. This is the real action on the side of CPPCC to celebrate the 70 years anniversary of the establishment of the new China. First, to strengthen the sense of responsibility and mission to build a well-off society. The comprehensive building of the well-off society can benefit the entire population and is key and foundation to the national rejuvenation, and it is also where the happiness and responsibility of each Chinese lies. To contribute to building of the well-off society, we are bestowed by the time and people with great historical responsibility and noble mission. The CPPCC is an important organ of multi-party cooperation, political political consultancy under the party leadership. CPPCC members are the main body of such a political organization. We have to have a sense of politics and historical responsibilities. While implementing them into our practices to build the will of society. The final battle starts now, and responsibility needs to be translated into action. We have to identify our key missions to mobilize the creativity and initiativity of all the parties and promote the utilization of wisdom, knowledge, and technologies, as well as make full use of the human resources, material resources, and financial resources. We are the practitioner, the participant, and promoter of such a great cause. Second, to play to CPPCC's strength as the consultancy body in the process of building a will of society. Democracy is an important content to the building of a will of society. To promote democracy, we need to collect more advice and wisdom. The CPPCC, as the advisory body, is part of the special design of the political system of Chinese characteristics. The CPPCC member gives advice to the party and the government, and this is a demonstration of democracy. For the party and government to solicit opinions is also a demonstration of democracy. In CPPCC, we have 34 sectors and more than 2,100 members. We have to stay focused on our one mission to build the will of our society, play to our strengths, to listen to the voices of the people, solicit opinions, focus on key issues, discover risks and difficulties, reflect public opinions, and to provide necessary suggestions to address the problems to the party and the government. We also need to work our weak links and shortcomings. And also we need to integrate in supervision with consultancy to help with implementation. Comprehensiveness is key to our process of the consultancy and improvement of well-being, as well as the sense of gains of people. Third, to enhance consensus and unity of building a well-off society. Consensus is the motivation for progress, and unity is the key to success. Currently, to comprehensively build a well-off society is encountering with a daunting task and multiple challenges, as well as complex demand. The CPPCC need to play its function as the major body for solidarity and properly handle consistency and diversity, to seek common grounds while reserving differences and asking for consistency, not sameness, for diversity, not anarchy, so that all work needs to be more specified and more pragmatic. To build a well-off society is our motivation of work and orientation. CPPCC covers multiple sectors, social stratum, and needs, demands of the members. So in these ideological and we need to strengthen ideological leadership in key points. We also need to guard against major risks and carry out activities of the CPPCC, such as members' lectures and special working groups, lecture groups, and also publicize policies, coordinate relations in order to form objective opinions on the changes both domestically and internationally, and faced with the challenges in reform and opening up. We need to overcome difficulties with cohesiveness and courage so that we can build together and share the benefit of a well-off society.
Fourthly, we must make efforts to improve the quality of CPPCC, serving the building of a well-off society in an all-round way. According to General Secretary Xi Jinping, building a well-off society in an all-round way must be subjected to people's recognition and the test of history. This is also the requirement of CPPCC to have quality service towards that target. We must improve our political standing and capability to be committed to the leadership of the CPC and 100% execution of the CPC Central Committee's decisions about building a well-off society in a round way and its requirements towards CPPCC. We must also take concerted actions and take serving the building of a well-off society in a round way as key measurements of CPPCC work and its level. We must hold on to the correct political direction. Also, we must focus on the targeted subjects of a well-off society in a round way to identify our investigation basis. We must combine site analysis and macro investigation, as well as investigation and research. We must unswervingly abandon generality when we are expressing our opinions and attitude, so that our advices are reasoned and our solutions are feasible. We must solemnly avoid formalism, bureaucracy in our work, and concentrate on the highlights and the essential pointers. Based on the new development concepts, the supply-side structural reform, promoting economic high-quality development, as well as the three tough battles, we must take our efforts. With truth discovered, solid efforts taken, and consensus built, we must be able to improve the quality of our advices, and we can build consensus and more effectively support the building of a well-off society in an all-round way. Esteemed members, ideas are leading the era, and our efforts are realizing dreams. Standing at this new historical point, the CPPCC still has a long way to go. We must shoulder our new missions and responsibilities, and we can surely make a difference. Let us more closely unite around the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping as the core. Let us hold high the banner of socialism with Chinese characteristics. Guided by socialism with Chinese characteristics proposed by General Secretary Xi Jinping, we must march forward with one mind and one heart, so as to make greater contribution to building a well-off society in a round way and winning great victories for socialism with Chinese characteristics in this new era, and realizing the China dream of great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation.
That was the opening of the second plenary session of the 13th CPPCC National Committee. Chairman Wang Yang delivered a comprehensive work report looking back at work of the top political advisory body in the year 2018 and also laid out some major tasks for the year 2019.
Exactly, and he was being very specific about some policy tools that the government, that the CPPCC is going to employ in the work for the next year. So now for some more discussion, let's turn back to our studio guests, Professor Zhang Weiwei from Fudan University and Mr. Edward Lehman. So gentlemen, let's talk about this. One of the highlights of the CPPCC's work in the past year is the employment of this bi-monthly conference and the use of high technology, the AI, in their daily work. For example, I heard that political advisors are gathered in group chats to discuss their work, and they can. The group chat also includes the chairman of the National Committee, Mr. Wang Yang. So they could the sense of discussion and engagement is to a certain extent greatly promoted there.
So
How do you look at this
part of
trend?
China's WeChat revolution? And you have this CPPCC APP for its members, for its deputies. So they discuss online 24 hours a day if necessary. Even Wang Yang, chairman of the CPPCC, joined these discussions. And an interesting feature you have just mentioned is this bi-monthly what they call Consultative Forum, which you can follow. It's also broadcast to a certain degree. You can follow their topics. Fascinating. For instance, the first topic for this year, in January this year, is AI. More specific, AI, how AI can serve the real economy, not the virtual economy. So this is very much in the frontier of this new technology. And usually you see the pattern of this bi-monthly consultative forum. They invite 15 to 20 top-level experts from China. And then before this forum, usually they send investigation groups to make studies. And then these members and experts will exchange views. And Chairman Wang Yang participates in each and every of this bi-monthly session. So this is, and also ministers, deputy ministers, or their representatives from various ministries are always present. And now from this report, we also know sometimes they use distance video conference to cover this. So the department concerned will also follow the discussions on these topics.
But we know this is not a new thing. I mean, the bi-monthly conference is not a new initiative that's taken since this year.
No, that's right. But I mean, but the use of the technology, I mean, we can contrast that by all the discussions in the last election cycle with the United States. Mrs. Clinton had a hard time with her email servers and even using an email. And now we have this jump where China has looking at technology. And even when you listen to this report, if you try to liken it to the report that Mr. Trump gave on the State of the Union, and you contrast our Congress and you contrast the CPPCC with regards to, these are mostly folks that have STEM backgrounds, science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, that are made up within this group by education. In the United States, those are mostly lawyers and lawmakers. And so I think the tone that you got from this is much more scientific. The law here is based on the German Code of 1896 originally, and you're looking at this from a sort of a scientific viewpoint. With the use of technology, it's exciting because it's actually lending a level of transparency that we don't even see in the United States government. For example, a lot of these committees are done behind closed doors, and this is now, I mean, if you're a part of a property ownership, you've got this WeChat chat group going on 24/7. Now we've got it with the government. I mean, it's really quite a step in the right direction, and it's exciting that China jumps over the technology and uses those things in order to serve the people. So it's great. Socialism with Chinese characteristics, and now with 1 billion users of WeChat, it's even more exciting.
Right, it's explosive phenomenon.
Yeah.
And Mr. Lehman, let's look ahead a little bit. In his work report, Chairman Wang Yang mentioned one of the major tasks for this year is to promote international exchanges under the capacity of political advisory body. What role do you think the body can play in this particular regard? And talking about innovating public diplomacy forms, that's the wording from Mr. Wang Yang. What kind of forms do you have in mind?
Well, you know, they unpacked it a little bit in the speech when they were talking about specifically what they were doing in Africa, in Pan-Asia, and these other types of things, and the ministers that were present today, even, that they were bringing into the meeting to be able to have access, and then the meetings that were going to be ongoing with regards to sort of international diplomacy in this One Belt, One Road, kind of following up with that. And they went into sort of specifics as to what they were looking to do, which you don't normally see, again, in the United States, for example, where they're talking about foreign affairs, which is almost exclusively the executive committee. So, I mean, I do see it on a practical basis. I'm seeing it as part of policy here today with the CPPCC. And I think that this is the type of thing that's even actually creeped into the national psyche with regards to the Spring Festival Gala, where they're touching on internationalism with regards to China. So I think it's not just in the political process, but it's also in the zeitgeist of the people.
Well, gentlemen, of course, one of the highlights in this work report is about the poverty alleviation, and China's drive to build a moderately prosperous society by year 2020 is the priority of the government work in the coming year. So ending poverty is one of the major concerns for Chinese political advisors. Here's what they have done to help us to fight against poverty.
To center around targeted poverty, and the 6 party members led missions to led groups to the led groups to the poverty-stricken areas and also to promote poverty alleviation.
So let's talk about poverty alleviation. And Professor Zhang, it's now the critical and maybe the final stage of China's massive campaign to eliminate poverty, if you will. What are the major challenges ahead?
Now, the remaining pockets of poverty are really in difficult regions, sometimes in high mountainous regions. So it's not easy. I heard in this report he mentioned that last year 6 vice chairmen led 6 groups to these difficult regions to find out how the situation is and try to offer advice. So this is a part of Xi Jinping's overall plan to really eradicate poverty in 2 years. And it's the target has been met. This year, close to 14 million people lived out of poverty. And indeed, I think personally, I think China has set higher standards. I've been to many developing countries. Now we use the World Bank criteria, something like $1.8 per day for living expense. Actually, China's case is very special because China is a socialist country. We have conducted land reform. Even poor farmers has land, has properties. These are not included, So sometimes it's very difficult to calculate. For instance, I went to Sichuan poor village. Actually, he has a refrigerator, color television, and bank accounts, but he's technically a poor farmer. Then it depends on how you calculate. If you consider the income he received from his boy in the cities, then he will not be considered poor. If it's not calculated, then he's poor. So there are a lot of complexity. You have to make investigation to know what we call targeted poverty alleviation. But I'm sure we can complete this task in 2 years.
Yeah, as you rightly pointed out, the closer China gets to the finishing line of poverty alleviation, the more difficult it's going to be because these people live in remote areas. They are probably the more vulnerable groups of society. But China has created this miracle of lifting already 700 million people out of poverty over the past 40 years. What are your expectations for this poverty alleviation drive going forward?
It's bold. It's an initiative that's unprecedented. It's Nobel Prize time, frankly, quite honestly. When you think about it, 30 million people, that's larger than the population of Australia, for goodness sakes. They're trying to say, and they're making a target as a politician to say we're going to alleviate that by the year 2020. I mean, that's remarkable. And what they've done is they through the state council circulars, and part of what they're doing is how to do it, which is trying to increase e-commerce, increase revenue with rural farmers in 2nd and 3rd tier cities. So they actually have a roadmap that they're trying to put into place. They've got this dream. There's already been, as a professor said, 14 million that have been eliminated so far, and the goal is 30 million. Now there's some discussion about what are semantics, what's absolute poverty, and what constitutes that. But just this idea that 30 million are going to be pulled out of poverty by 2020 is an amazing thing, and that they have a roadmap to do it. And it was revealed a little bit today in the report, and I think they're going to get there. I actually do, so through what they've proposed.
All right. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. Meanwhile, as we speak, we're going to turn to our reporter, Liu Yang. She's live for us at the corridor for the CPPCC members.
Yeah, specifically ministers. Hello, Liu Yang. Tell us more about the coming up ministers corridor.
Well, during this year's 2 sessions, there will be at least 4, perhaps 5 ministers' passage corridors open to the media, and more than 30 officials will respond to all sorts of questions on various issues. And the press center here are also collecting relevant questions from the media for the internet or WeChat. So reporters can send their questions in remotely. And this demonstrates the openness and transparency of the 2 sessions. And my own own questions related to China's U.S. trade, poverty alleviation, and especially China's medical care reform. Remember, during yesterday's press conference, the new CPPCC spokesperson Guo Weimin said China's healthcare reform is now entering, lots of challenges, and lots of services need to be upgraded. And so I intend to ask the National Health Commission what new measures will the government take to solve health issues for those still struggling in the deep poverty area. And in 2018, I think is a lot of questions, a lot of topics about reform and sustainability. Get back to you.
And that topic concerns all of us indeed. Thank you very much. Our reporter Liu Yang at Great Hall of the People as the Minister's Corridor is about to start. You're watching a special live coverage on CGTN. Stay with us.
Under a slowing global economy, fraught with rising uncertainty, China's biggest annual